This would help. Stirring the chai with chopsticks using the vortex method, the only true way to... I overslept today. Optimize the taste of your chai. At the molecular level. Good morning. Welcome to the Daybreak Show. I am the Sultan. We'll get started, but first, chai. Every now and then, I am just in the mood for chai, and that is good. Respond, don't react to everything. Have a 24-hour buffer period before you respond to challenges. And if you haven't done this yet, remove the word problem from your vocabulary and replace it with the word challenge. A challenge seems like it's so much more attainable, defeatable, rather than a problem. Problems seem like walls. They seem like knots that you'll never get untangled. A challenge is something you're up to. I'm up to the challenge. You're not up to the problem. Problems weigh you down. Challenges build you up and make you literally want to challenge them. So, you don't have any problems. You have challenges. So wait 24 hours before you respond, not knee-jerk react to everything. There is wisdom in the old phrase, let me sleep on it. Although it is hard to sleep when you have challenges, right? I'm sure. If you think about it, just give it time. That's another thing that people might say. For acute business crises, pre-plan your responses so you never have to make quick emotional decisions. Kind of like an emotional evacuation plan. Think about that. There's times to be decisive, and then there's times to make strong decisions, and then there's times to slow cook, but not overthink it. Don't suffer from paralysis of analysis. Maybe create a visual decision tree, like a flowchart. It visually shows you and spells out, if this, then that. Didn't get a desired response from whatever, whoever? Don't be impulsive and cut it off or cut them off. Maybe change the way that you approach things. Whoever didn't react the way that you wanted them to, okay, you could be decisive and cut them off and say never again, or you could offer 2 or 3 more alternatives using different language. That's a possibility. In 1971, we played the Fillmore all night, actually till 6 a.m. The windows were open. When the sun came in, the light streamed in. It was like being in church. That's from Duane Allman. He died later that year in a motorcycle accident. Played all night till 6 a.m. That's a long concert, isn't it? Here's some hope for the men out there. Guys, there is a woman out there that will appreciate and value your masculinity. Yeah, you're going to get shit tested, and regularly. Don't think that's not going to happen. Even the most successful marriages, the men are shit tested constantly. In other words, tested for their strength. Constantly. Just understand that. Keep your body strong and healthy. Keep your mind strong and healthy. Protect your sleep. Sleep is important. You restore your body. You restore your brain, your decision-making faculties when you sleep. But there is a threshold. It's not, well, the more I sleep, the more I restore. That's not true. There's an optimum amount of sleep that you can get where you are restored. When you go over that threshold, then it almost has like a negative effect. It's like taking a nap. Sometimes a nap can make you feel great. You know what your optimum nap is. And then other times you might think to yourself, man, I'm more tired now than when I started taking the nap. Then the nap makes you more tired. So figure out what your optimum sleep time is. So appreciate the value that she brings to your life. And if you have some value, think about this, gentlemen. If you have value, you'll know value when you see it. You'll be able to have a value detector in your brain. You'll be able to differentiate between takers and makers. You definitely want a maker. You want a maker, a giver. For many years now, there has been in development male sex robots. And I'm not talking about just battery-powered dildos. I'm talking literally sex robots. Literally. In the shape of a man, the form of a man. 6 foot tall, completely mechanical, covered with silicone, muscular looking. There are women, think about this, there are women who will opt for that. There are. Just like women have battery-powered things in their nightstand, they will opt to have a fully functioning male robot with a bionic penis. I'm not one to point out double standards, but if a woman has a battery-powered device in her top drawer, a man doesn't think twice about it. But what if a man had a device in his top drawer? What would a woman think about that? Like a fleshlight kind of device. Interesting, right? Men allow women the freedom to have that thing, that device. But women, what do they say? First thing they resort to with a man they disagree with, they call him an incel. Like, what? I came up with the phrase volcel. You heard me say that about 2 years ago, a voluntary celibate. There are men who are voluntarily celibate, and they're not just monks. They're not just in religious orders. They're guys that are waiting till they're married. A lot of people use that word now like they came up with it. They didn't. I came up with that. Literally, a voluntary celibate, a volcel. In response to the accusation that men are incels, well, you can't get laid. You belong to that group because you can't get laid. Like, what's that got to do with anything? I can't get laid from women, so I'm going to hang out with men? Yeah, that makes sense, doesn't it? Women always got to go for the crotch, don't they? Always. Like, every insult always is like, you have a small dick. Small dick energy. And I always wondered where that came from. My buddy Jeff used to say to me all the time, women have dirty minds. I remember setting him up with a woman, and she says, I just want you to know we're not going to have sex on the first date. We're not going there. I don't do that. By the end of the first date, they were having sex. And then she later complained, this is interesting now, this is over 20 years ago. Then later she complained to a gal that I know that we even had sex. All he wanted was sex, like it was his fault. And you can see where accusations come in. You know, this guy could just get a phone call or a knock on the door from the police saying, we're here to investigate accusations of rape or sexual assault. This is why many men want nothing to do with women, unless it's perfectly clear and spelled out. This is one of the reasons why there were contracts, sexual contracts, in the book 50 Shades of Grey. Not that that author came up with that idea, but the reality is, and doesn't it kind of take the spontaneity out of things? Like sitting down with a piece of paper with a list and saying, I'll do this, 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 and this, but I won't do this, this, and this. And then you sign it and date it. And it gets used as a legal document, just in case. I'll never forget the woman's name. We're not having sex. And then by the end of the date, she was all over his you know what. You're not putting it in me. But by the end of the day, she put it in her. Which led my friend to say this: women have dirty minds. 20 years ago. Wait, actually, that wasn't 20 years ago. That was 30 years ago. Women have dirty minds, he said. Women have dirty minds. This guy literally was He was red-pilled without even thinking about it in certain areas of his life. And in other areas of his life, he was just as vulnerable as the rest of men. And with that, finish your coffee. And I'll see you soon on the Daybreak Show, your home of sanity, clarity, and reason.
Hi, my name is Erin. I use she, her pronouns, and I am the